Okay, ma. Vishwa,
Yes, ma'am. Shall we start, ma'am?
sir, PV sir, can we start now, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, sir. Yes.
Good evening to all. Good evening to all. I welcome you all for today's webinar topic for Pragmatic AI for Quality Engineering from Strategy to Scale. Now I request Mr. T. Ramesh Dugar President, Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, to give the welcome address.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Kalilur Rahman, AI consultant, advisor, former director, data, digital and IT at Novartis. HCC is proud to have him as today's speaker for this webinar. I welcome the office bearers and members of HCC, CSI Chennai, IEEE Madras, ACM Chennai, IEEE LMAG for this webinar and thank all the organizations for joining hands for this important webinar. I thank Mr. Mohan, Chairman and his team for coming out with a series of programs under the aegis of the Information Technology Committee. The efforts showcase opportunities to members of all the associations on a wide range of subjects and in particular on current topics. For CIOs and CTOs, AI is becoming indispensable as organizations face growing demands to deliver complex systems faster. AI is driving a significant shift in the QE landscape and automation of repetitive tasks, generating intelligent test cases and utilizing predictive analytics. AI accelerates testing while improving accuracy and early defect detection. Our speaker today is an expert on the subject, will take us through the subject in detail. I would like to say a few words about Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. It's an 80-year-old non-profit organization with around 1,000 members spread across various segments of trade and industry. I once again welcome the speaker and all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Uh, I thank Mr. H.R. Mohan, Chair, Event IEEE CS Madras, to arrange this event. Now I request Dr. A. Akila, Chair, CSI Chennai, to give the introduction about resource person.
Thank you, Vishwa. Good evening to one and all present here. So as Mr. Ramesh Dugar sir has specified, so pragmatic AI for quality engineering from strategy to scale is just an state of art topic, and it is referring to the applying practical business focused artificial intelligence to software quality, and also moving from initial planning to the widespread adoption. So that is why it has been given as strategy to scale. And today's presentation will be broadly covering about the AI quality engineering revolution and AI fundamentals for quality leaders and cross-industry application, building AI quality engineering strategy, and also the human AI partnership and future trends. And I'm very happy to introduce our speaker. Mr. Kalilur Rahman is an executive leader with over 2 decades of experience in global delivery, practice leadership, and AI-driven digital transformation. Till recently, he was the director, data, digital, and IT at Novartis, where he architected and scaled a global capacity center, GCC, from 25 to 4,000 plus professionals. In his role, he led a critical data governance program, archiving 150 terabyte of data from 850 plus legacy applications. Mr. Rahman is a published author of 2 books, Science of Selenium, Python Data Visualization, Essential Guide, are the book names, and a speaker at various forums. He's a Kaggle Grandmaster and a doctor scholar in business analytics. An avid quizzer and LinkedIn influencer with over 750K followers. Mr. Rahman has received multiple awards and is recognized as a top 3 global thought leader by Thinkers 360. I'm very happy to welcome the speaker. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Hello. Thank you very much for that warm introduction, and I'm glad to be presenting this session. And I would like to thank Mr. Mohan and also the entire IEEE and CSI and ACM and HCC team for giving me this opportunity. Let me share the. Okay. Are you able to see the screen I'm sharing?
Yeah, your entire screen we are able to see, sir. Yes, sir. We are able
Okay,
to use.
sure. Okay. So I'll be covering on the pragmatic AI for quality engineering, and
Sir,
there were some.
sorry to disturb. Can you keep that window down, sir? That
Yeah,
YouTube. There is the sorry the G. Yeah. Thank you. Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you.
Okay,
Also click
okay.
on that hide, sir. Hide.
Oh, yeah, yeah, true.
Thank you,
Sure.
sir.
Okay. So there were some questions raised already. So I'll try to cover that also in while I present. So since there was an introduction about me, I will not cover this in detail. So just wanted to start with one particular quote about AI, right? This is from Professor Toby Walls, who is one of the well-known authority, and he was also uh, chief edit or executive editor of the CAIR magazine also, and he is a very well-known published author of AI. He published 2062 Machines Brave Badly and Faking It. His primary quote was, "We cannot today build moral machines that capture our human values and can be held accountable for their decision." And there is also another initiative by MIT. There is a site called https moralmachine.mit.edu, which covers some of the moral decisions people would be taking in the age of AI when you need to make a certain decision. So why I'm covering those two is that AI is not human. So there are certain things which AI cannot do emotionally, right? So there are certain challenges that we need to deal with, right? And Professor Toby Walls also mentioned that the next 5 years will be, seeing more fundamental changes to jobs and work than the last 2 decades combined. Okay, I'll come to the next slide. One example I want to cover is, at the turn of the 20th century, where you're taking about late 1890s and early 1900, it was a horse cars era. North America had over 24 million horses, and 90,000 plus people were employed in carriage manufacturing, right, around 1900. And there were a lot of concerns when automobile entered, right. Henry Ford started the rapid automation with Model T Ford assembly line production. There were a lot of disruptions, and there were a lot of concerns raised about job loss and other things, right? However, what happened was automobile industry created close to 7 million or 6.9 million net new jobs just between 1910 to 1950. That resulted in phenomenal transformation of US economy and also world economy, wherever automobile industries were leveraged, right? And then the lesson is, disruptive technology could destroy old jobs, but that actually creates new jobs and sectors. And another point I want to make is Professor Vasily Leontiev. He was the Nobel Prize winner of 1973. He mentioned clearly the human worker will go the way of the horse. Why I'm bringing that is AI disruption will cause what automobiles did to horses. But still, horses are around, but they are leveraged for something else. But whereas with human intelligence, humans will be used for more productive and impactful jobs, and more jobs will be created, right? And the three trends of economic growth of what happened with the horses is, manual labor got reduced to 10% from 70%, and white collar workers were increased from 18% to 60% in just 100 years. Still, about 40% blue collar workers are there. And then the productive hours increase. Average actual work is done is only 3.3 hours and 10 minutes. That's the productive hours, 190 minutes, right? However, what will happen is, in the, Professor Leontiev also covered it, children of poor and working class will face the biggest challenge, as skills will become essential for success. That's also seen in how the new young kids are getting recruited, right? So we are in an era where a lot of transformation is happening, and then it will redefine how work gets done in future. the current workscape, it's also already impacting the current workscape, right? With regards to proficiency, 93% of the professionals recognize digital skills are indispensable. This includes AI. And 22% of the roles are already getting transformed. Current roles are undergoing significant change. You're seeing a lot of transformation, lot of layoffs, lot of consolidation of work. A lot of news is coming almost on a regular basis. And the way the organizations are, increasing the pace with the digital acceleration has increased by 88%. And I mentioned the point about the job loss versus job creation. About 92 jobs roles are getting reshaped or made redundant, and about 170 million new jobs will be created by 2030. This is from World Economic Forum. That means there's a net job gain of 78 million. AI is on the digital transformation is not going to take away your jobs, but it is just going to increase the number of jobs. And coming to 2025, and we heard this word multiple times, vibe coding, right? Andres Karpathy was one of the key architects of the OpenAI and the world's favorite tool, ChatGPT. Now he's no longer with OpenAI. In February 2025, he introduced vibe coding, explained what it is. Then by 20 March, Merriam-Webster added it as a slang and a trending word. And, the entire year was all about vibe coding. Y Combinator mentioned about 25% of the startups use up to 95% of the code purely generated by AI, right? And Wall Street Journal mentioned it's a professionally adapted. Then last of, in the Fast Company also introduced the problems with vibe coding with, post on development health. And then it's shifting. And in 2025 November, World Quality Report by Capgemini and Sogeti, right, mentioned there's about 89% of the organizations have already adopted AI in quality engineering. We'll come to that in detail. And in December 2025, it has been officially recognized as a word of the year. Collins Dictionary has identified as a word of the year. Why I'm telling this is vibe coding has moved on from a weekend hack term to more of a word of the year. It is not a trend, but it's a transformation, right? And about 256 million lines of code were generated by AI in 2024, and it's increasing. Currently, the number is increasing from more than 1 billion lines of code generated daily, right? And why I mentioned about the Y Combinator percentage. So what it means is the code generated by AI of top quality, can it be used as is? What about the hallucination? What about the unnecessary code volume that it generates, and whether it's suitable for production? So those are some of the questions that we need to address. And Cursor, which is one of the tools, right? It generates about 1 billion lines of code. Right? I'll do one thing. I'll show one. See. Replit is another tool, right? I just put one prompt. I'm asking it to build, an application, right? I'll let it run in the back end, right? And then I will let it, go. I'll come back to it when it's ready, right? I will. Okay. Okay. And then there's another, I'm asking Lovable, this another tool. I'm asking it to build a product. So I'm showing it because, I want to show how easy or how quick it is, people can leverage these vibe coding tools. So I'm showing a couple of them. I'll come to the quality engineering aspect also towards the end. Let it run in the back end. Okay. Yeah. The point is Cursor is another tool. We generate close to 1 billion plus lines of data. This is as of July, right? It has changed. It could have been 1.2 or 1.2 billion. We don't know the current numbers, but as of July 2025, they were generating 1 billion lines of code, right? It is almost equivalent to the code that gets committed to GitHub in the entire week, right? The volume of code that is getting generated. And then engineer productivity currently contributes about 40% to all committed code, and future is almost 41% of the all code will originate only from AI. And there is a what it means in terms of programmers features. I'm sharing this point because few of the questions were raised with regards to what is the future of AI. Microsoft also had a big layoff recently, and most of the people who got impacted were all programmers, right? And this image is from Microsoft Research. Microsoft Research has published that programmers' futures will be in three phases. Phase one will be human with an assistant. Every employee will have an AI assistant like Cursor, Lovable, Chat GPT, so on and so forth. That will help them be more productive and faster. Before the availability of the AI tools, people had Stack Overview and all those readily available tools where people used to do just a cut and paste and then get the job done. Now you have an AI assistant that can help you do the same. And second phase would be human agent teams, where digital colleagues will take on certain tasks for the humans with the human direction. This is what you do see with agentic AI and all. And then in the third phase would be human-led and agent operator. There'll be humans in the loop, but the humans will set the direction, give the inputs to the agents to execute the business process and workflows, and then validate and check in as needed. And that means the churn and the output generation productivity will be round the clock. It can happen non-stop. And then what it means is, there is a need for prompt engineering, architecture and design, quality assurance, validating the AI generated code for quality, accuracy and correctness. And then you need to integrate. These are the things that's happening as we speak, not only in Microsoft, but across the board. And another point, same thing, BCG shared how generative AI progressed, right? You must have seen about 15, 20 years back when you logged into Google, before you type the next word, Google will automatically identify the next word, right? Or next, and the entire try to finish the sentence. It was all using foundational model where it was using natural language processing, BERT, and other techniques to find out the next token prediction. Then it later on became training to chat. You had evolutions of chats, and there were a lot of fine-tuned models that were able to chat better. And then you had the workflow system where they're trying to use tool, LLMs, and then lot of if but statements get, this is what is being used at scale right now. The next future will be agent orchestration and multi-agent system. There are companies which are already using multi-agent system, leveraging it, but it will take some time before it becomes a problem. So the point is, it mentions 78% are already using GenAI pilots, 40% productivity gains are seen, typically 6 to 12 month timeline from pilot to production. ROA is achieved in 18 months for those who do it successfully. And for that, you need to have executive sponsorship, investment in workforce reskilling, right? Robust frameworks and continuous cross-functional collaboration. So what can we expect? The agentic AI adoption is going to increase from 15% to 64% in another 12 to 18 months. And then productivity boost will increase per employee close to 30+%. And it's, what is the impact, right? There is close to 130,000 plus AI-related layoffs last year. This year, the number is going to be even more. 87% of the coding task is already automatable. Like 65% of the tasks have high automation potential, right? And then in manufacturing, 40% of the workers will need significant reskilling. In China and other places where human factory workers are getting replaced by robotic workers because the leverage of advanced robotics is increasing big time in assembly line. I'll not cover this. Yeah. So the point is, 86% of the employers feel fundamental change in the business, right? And then work automation is going to be at least 1/3 across the board. And the digital access is one of the key transformative trends for employers. Okay. And when it comes to quality engineering, this is the first slide. Again, this is all generated using Google Nano Banana based on the prompt I gave. Right. This is how the traditional development plan do check act, like you plan, design and code, then test and then deploy and check, and it's a structured, predictable handoff. Whereas in vibe coding and the current way of delivery, you need to prompt, generate, run, iterate, and go on, right? But how do you bridge this chasm from left to right? You would have a lot of technical debt, you'll have quality risk, maintenance costs. Then how do you manage a future which is AI driven, rapid, iterative, and minimal structure? Just to give me a second, I'll take a pause. 1 second. Sorry about that. Are you able to see? Hello? Yeah. Hello?
Yes, sir. We are able to see your presentation, sir.
Yeah. So what it means to quality engineering is we are moving away from traditional structured, predictable, clear handoff, clear outcome based delivery to AI-driven, rapid, iterative with minimal structure. There's a 2.5 times minimum productivity gap between the seniors and juniors who is skilled versus not skilled. Why? You must have seen there's a lot of reduction in terms of freshers recruitment. Earlier, the entire model was a pyramid based model, right? You had a lot of juniors, then mid level was lesser than the entry level, then you are top level, you had a smaller. Now the pyramid is becoming more of a diamond, meaning one pyramid flipped over another, or rhombus type, meaning at entry level you have limited people, you need lot of people in the middle who are conversant in multiple skills. That's related to the central point, which is productivity gap, meaning people who know how to use the tool, people who have skills on how to use the tools, how people who understand the concepts, they will be very much in demand. So where do they come from? They come from the entry level. So they directly move to the middle level if they are skilled and capable. And their salary structures will also be huge, right? You are not talking about 30,000 month salary and all. The entry level people are getting like 40, 50 lakhs directly. The reason is we are moving towards that, pyramid to a diamond shaped culture. So the demand will be a lot more for people who are highly skilled, highly capable to fit into those requirements quickly, right? And that would also be applicable to the SDETs, software design engineers in test, or quality engineers. And this bridging the chasm requires new quality engineering strategies as well, right? This is another slide I generated using Nano Bananas, right? So at the moment we are in vibe coding. Next stage would be context engineering, which is already there. You have structured prompt, better context management, some validation. The third stage, which we are currently in, is multi-agent verification, strategic orchestration, and quality workflow. And next year onwards, you will have more of an autonomous quality engineering, meaning you'll have self-healing system, self-healing automation skills, predictive quality, and full automation. And the industry is already moving that, right? We are already doing a lot of structured workflows, strategic orchestration, and in future, the scripts will be more self-healing and self-optimizing. Just early this week, I saw one paper from MIT. It's called SEAL. You can search for it. What that means is they built a model that that what it does is it generates code, and that auto heals and corrects code based on its understanding and learning. Meaning, you don't need a human coder to maintain and augment the script. When it knows, okay, something is not working, it automatically generates the output out itself. Let me show the outcome of the. Okay. So this is the replete code which I. Sorry. So what you are seeing here is, I gave one requirement, right? I gave one requirement to Replit to build a system, right? I wanted it to build an application for example, for IEEE for various activities, right? It has come up with a plan, and I just gave input to build the product, right? It is starting to design. Whereas in here, in the Lovable app, just asked them to build a Tetris game, right? It has already built the game for me, right? All it took was, I gave one prompt, right? Very simple prompt, right? Right? And it just did it. And all it took me was one simple prompt. So while this is a simple example, right? I'll wait for this other thing to come back again. So this is the power of vibe coding, right? So if you give the Tetris example I gave was simple vibe coding uh, code, whereas the example I gave for the IEEE webinar website is context. I gave a bit more structured prompt and context, right? Whereas in the next stage, if you want to do a vibe engineering, you can leverage various agents and various products and integrate and then generate a very comprehensive workflow, right? For example, you want to uh, check your calendar based on your availability of say 10-15 people in your organization or in your home or familial network. Find out the best time for a 3-day vacation, and then find options on what are the vacation that you can choose. Find what are the best available packages and costs available for planning the vacation. And then based on certain predefined parameter, if certain rules are met, you automatically go and book a vacation and also send confirmation to people, then register, block their time in their calendar, send emails, send WhatsApp messages and whatnot, right? Everything can be automatically done using your multi-agent systems with vibe engineering and strategic orchestration. That's the current stage we are in. And this is from Sogeti, or Capgemini, right? They also came up with a report. They normally publish this World Quality Report close to the end of the year. The 2025 World Quality Report has already come. The point is all the 100% organizations know about GenAI in quality engineering. About 89% are already piloting and deploying, and 52% are in pilot. 37% are in production. Only 15% have achieved the enterprise scale. The reason is there's a 50% impact due to skill gap, and then there is also about 75% are stuck between pilot and enterprise stage. Why? Because there are a lot of challenges. We'll come to that, right? It's one thing to assume and aim for something, but it's an totally a different thing when it comes to execution. Strategy to execution goes a long way. There are a lot of challenges which prevent them from achieving this, right? Because there is a lack of validation strategy, insufficient AI skills, undefined quality engineering organization. To currently this year, more hallucination concerns, integration complexity between systems, then data privacy risk. These challenges are addressing, impacting the AI adoption in quality engineering, right? And also teams from moving from strategy to execution. And this is one example. You must have read this article about why it is happening. I'm coming to that. Why it is happening is this article from MIT report, right? MIT did a massive study of all the AI and GenAI projects that are getting implemented. They mentioned about 95% struggle to show the value, and it's zero measurable impact, $0 measurable impact. About 42% abandon the project midway or at various stages, and very unclear ROI. Whereas about 5% achieve breakthrough. And of these organizations achieve a 3.7x return per dollar spent. And then one organization achieved $10.3 per dollar spent, right? And they have very clear success metrics. And about 40 billion was invested in 2024, and the expected ROI timeline is 2 to 4 years. And one example is one electronic manufacturer who had a lot of challenges, faced critical defects, and various challenges. They leveraged quality engineering and AI and digital transformation. That resulted in good product. One of the challenge why AI testing is complex, right? Why AI testing is complex is you have the challenge of data, enterprise data management, data quality issues, and also the problem of structured and unstructured data. Most of the AI projects or companies which leverage AI successfully are successful because they address this head on at the beginning. Right? They know what data they use, whether it's structured or unstructured, how their enterprise data management, how they do manage the FAIR data, how do they whether they have a data catalog, right? Whether they have a data lineage from start to end, right? Whether the data is not in silo or duplicated manner across the board, various things that contributes to data quality. When it comes to AI, it is easy for AI to process your databases or structured data like spreadsheets or data from enterprise systems or APIs. Whereas AI wouldn't know where data resides. Suppose if you have the data in your emails or someone's email or in a call transcript or earlier meeting notes or contracts or presentation or news article, it's hidden somewhere without any context or correlation, AI would not be able to identify. The most decision critical intelligence lives that is below this tip of the iceberg, right? That's where majority of the intelligence resides, and that's invisible to the most AI systems. The successful ones are able to address this problem, and still, if the visibility is not that good, they still face the problem of hallucination. Even ChatGPT, Gemini, all the big and very successful LLM models also face the same. And that's why many organizations are moving more from a localized, so centralized and open LLM models to more localized, secure, private LLM and SLM models, right? And how to address that would be based on how you take care of your both structured and unstructured data and take care of the EDM and also the data integrity issue. And for having a good this AI framework will also be applicable to quality engineering. That's what I'm covering here. You need to have a good strategic alignment, collaborative intelligence, right? Structured workflow from plan to test and review, and then multi-agent verification and continuous evolution of the system. And coming to, again, developer and vibe coding, I'll mention how quality engineering is evolving also. Like the traditional developer or in 2020 was good in technical fundamentals. They know how to do line by line coding. They are good at manual debugging, memorized APIs. Then he was a good individual contributor, had the framework knowledge, understood testing basics and all those things. Whereas basically a syntax monkey, as the system called. With the evolution into more vibe coding and new ways of working with prompt engineering and whatnot, the same developer becomes an AI orchestrator, right? Has strategic fundamentals, AI tool fluency, context design, prompt engineering skills, context design skills, system architecture, team orchestration, quality emphasis, and strategy. What it means is you don't need to be a programmer to be successful. You need to have strategic fundamentals. You need not have technical fundamentals. But if you have technical fundamentals and you merge both, and if you are a good, AI engineer, then you would be getting salaries like, Lionel Messi or the best sports person or entertainer, which is what is happening with the top AI talent in the world. In US and all, people are getting like 200 million to poach top AI talent from their competitors or another company, right? So the point is the AI augmented developer on the right need not be a person purely with computer science skills. It could be someone who understands all these concepts and leverage the tool to produce the outcome expected. Right? It's again a different way. Yeah. When it comes to quality engineering, there is a lot of self-healing workflows, right? AI can detect the patterns. You don't need to manually go and DOM, POM, page object model, and document object model, right? People used to go and manually code or manually identify and do. Now with the AI tool, with a self-healing path, you can automatically correct and update your test scripts and then validate it and execute and produce a success failure report and put it in your CI/CD pipeline also. That means you would save a lot of time. You have 90% less maintenance and dramatic time reduction, right? Companies are leveraging it, and some companies with advanced AI platforms, they report about 89% higher profit as per Fortune 500 analysis. And the way some of them have adopted the AI native quality engineering, it has resulted in reduction of close to 9x time they put in some of the testing activities. And then the AI tool landscape is also changing, right? From Selenium and APM, which was mostly scripting and brittle test and manually maintained, right? Leveraging from old record and playback to more for low code platforms like Catlon, Test Complete, Tricentis, then became AI driven, AI native, visual AI, self-healing scripts like Mabel, Testim, and Apply tools. And the future will be mostly autonomous agent, which will be goal driven, fully autonomous, right? Generative testing, right? So how it would work is AI will learn the multiple identification patterns for each element. When the primary locator fails, it will look for alternative strategies. System will automatically update the test scripts. Human review will be needed only for major changes. This self-healing script represents a fundamental change from reactive maintenance to proactive maintenance and adaptation. One tool named Apply Tools maintains, reports maintenance time reduces by up to 90%, right? And also stability improvement of close to 70% and reliability improvement between 60 to 80%. And one example is there were some visual AI testing tools, right? And they always had these problems. They used to look at pixel level for the pre and post, and they used to come up with a lot of false positives, sometimes up to 89% false positive with brittle overwhelming test. Whereas with AI, right, it can understand like human and it can produce better accuracy. This is one example of a website, right, where AI versus earlier visual AI testing tool was leveraged. It was able to produce 98% accuracy, better intelligent and contextual understanding summary. It was able to create tests 40% faster, 60% better bug detection, and also supported multi-browser in an omni-channel validation manner. One example was one online retailer. Retail uses e-commerce and testing extensively, right? So they would be obvious candidates for leveraging these tools. One online retailer reduced test creation time by 40% and improved bug detection by 60%. Personally speaking, for my previous organization, we leveraged generative AI, and we also used Playwright, Microsoft Playwright as a tool in addition to Tricentis Tosca. When we rolled out Tricentis Tosca for one of the SAP rollout, it reduces the cycle time from 2 weeks for a regression cycle to a 3 day. Even 3 day was due to sequence and some wait time between the process. It could have been further reduced if if it were run parallel. So the organizations are leveraging various opportunity to reduce that test case creation, create test data, both synthetic and regular test using automation scripts and AI scripts, and also leverage the AI advantage to improve the contextual understanding, meaningful defect detection, cross-platform validation, and so on. One key area where AI is used is autonomous text generation, right? The input could be plain language, like what you give in a chat GPT or it could be a user story or a requirement document uploaded. It understands the intent and context. Then it also generates end-to-end end-to-end flows automatically. Then it can be validated with cross verification of with multiple models, and it can also be executed automated. Right? These are the tools such as Mabel, Testim, and XLQ and all do. They automatically generate end to end based on the input you give. Right? And there is also an intelligent integration architecture. Be it you can connect with the version control tools like Bitbucket, GitHub, Jenkins for CI/CD, or any other tool. Issue tracking can be connected to Jira, Azure DevOps, and other products. Monitoring or observation can be done using Datadog, Relic, and Splunk. ID, Cursor, IntelliJ, VS Code, and so on. Some of the productivity impact is just with GitHub Copilot. There's up to 55% faster coding, 26% productivity increase, and 90% adoption rate of software professionals. Basically, it provides 40% boost. What it means is when the developers are producing more codes quickly, testers need to step up. And testing is one area typically companies struggle to keep up and get the product out of the way quickly, right? That means you need to adopt faster than productive manners to do testing fast. And also there is a big cost of quality escape impact, right? If you leak a product into production, it can cost up to 1,000 times or more, right? For example, one breach can cost about $4.88 million, whereas if you find the same in a development instance, it can be just $100 to fix, purely based on developer costs and so on. That means it's important for leveraging the AI quality engineering for early detection, reduced defect escape rate, faster time for resolution, prevention versus cure economics. It's simply an economics, right? So I covered this, so I'll not, you always need to have a human in the loop governance, and also when you run the pilots, you should avoid the challenge of POC trap. Okay? And the future would be, if you want to look how the AI future is going to look like, there is going to be a need for a quality architect. QA will not be a gatekeeper. They will be the architects of the safety, designing the agentic systems rather than writing individual scripts. Right? And in future, tests will write themselves while the developer codes. It's no longer a separate phase, but quality would automatically get embedded in the development process itself. And will also be a shadow testing. AI agents will observe the user behavior in production and auto-generate test cases to match real-time usage. It's not going to be only done during development time. It will be generated automatically based on what are the features the users are clicking more, which is most liked or most used workflows. And for that, if the scripts needs to be fine-tuned, these scripts will be automatically be generated. And also some pitfalls to avoid would be blindly, trusting the LLM. So it's a lazy trap. It needs to be AI generated cannot be relied 100%. So human needs to be there to do the review. Always need to take care of the non-functional requirement. That something cannot be done that can be done automatically by AI. Performance and security testing cannot be ignored as an afterthought. And also over-engineering the AI solution will also be a challenge. You cannot use a sledgehammer to crack a nut, right? So you need to start simple but scale complexly only when it's needed. And some of the challenges is key for successful adoption is there is always a fear of job replacement, skepticism, reluctance to change workflow, skills gap, right? Success strategy would be transparent communication, upskilling, quick wins, and celebration of the success. And for quality engineering and testing, it's always beyond the vanity metrics, right? You move away from a technical. You also need to focus on some of the key KPIs, but not a comprehensive KPI of 1,000. Right? Look at key KPIs like a technical KPI, test coverage, execution, defect detection, false positive, mean time to detect and repair, right? And time to market, release frequency, NPS, production defect, cost per test, and also key AI indicators would be AI adoption, developer satisfaction, tool utilization, and training completion. Some companies are struggling in these metrics, especially the AI-based leading indicators, and trying to address the challenge. Some real world case studies, financial services, retail, one used aptly tools and testing for 40% reduction, 60% improvement in bug detection. Another improved faster release in a SaaS for a SaaS based company. Manufacturing resulted in 20 million savings in 2024, and another 50 million reduction in waste. It's for General Mills, which is one of the big manufacturing companies. And then in the future of AI quality engineering, the fourth way, there will be multiple ways. The fourth wave of our autonomous agent will be goal-driven testing, no prescribed steps, right? And then AI as a service for a quality engineering, continuous intelligence with real-time quality insights and predictive defect modeling. Then sustainability in quality engineering, green IT, energy efficient testing. These are all going to be the next. And how quality engineering team can future-proof, improve technical skills in prompt engineering, optimization, context engineering, design, AI tool integration, data engineering, API and automation proficiency. Strategy could be risk assessment, prioritization, business impact analysis, stakeholder communication, change management, continuous learning, and emerging skills are agentic system design, multimodal orchestration, AI ethics and governance, and explainable AI. And key learnings from failures is implementing AI because everyone else is not a good one. You need to start with specific problem. Underestimating quality, data quality will automatically fail your AI. You need to invest in data cleansing and data structure and data quality first, and have an enterprise data management strategy. Expecting 100% automation on day one will be impossible. You need to plan for gradual automation. Ignoring change management is a big problem, and that's what majority of the organizations which face challenges or fail to implement AI successfully face. Like deploy, they will use it, it's not going to work. You need to heavily invest in adoption strategy, communication, and change management plan. AI as a tactical, not a strategic opportunity will result in fragmented and underfunded initiative, which has been the case with quite a few companies that struggle. It has to come top down with executive sponsorship and strategic alignment. So the time is now. Everyone is moving from vibe to value. AI is moving from an experiment to an imperative. 89% is adopting, but only 15% see enterprise scale. It needs to improve. That will be done through a strategy plus structure plus skill. Early movers will see up to 10x gain. Don't wait for perfect conditions to always start with pragmatic pilots about scale and transform quality from cost to win. So that's all I had. Thank you very much. I'll show the other screens where how it looks like. Yeah. So this is the site that got generated. At the beginning, I gave one prompt, right? Tetris you saw. Yeah, the game which was played. So this is the tech webinar site that got automatically generated. This is the first, prompt I gave, right? So this is purely based on very simple prompt I gave, and it can be automatically modified. I didn't give anything, right? All I gave was these 4 lines, and it generated a full-fledged website for me, and it would also it also generated the quiz, right? I just gave some random answer. So that's all I had. So I'll take a pause here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your wonderful session, sir. We have some questions during the registration, which most of the questions you have covered in your presentation itself, but still for the participants' benefit, I'm just posting it again. For a student aiming to build a career in data science or AI, which practical AI or ML techniques from quality engineering are more transferable to broader applications across industries?
Okay. For that, yeah. See, AI models are evolving, and so are the tools, right? With regards to a career in quality engineering, uh, the key would be two aspects. I would put three aspects rather. One would be domain based. Suppose based on the domain that you enter into, you need to learn the domain skills. That is important. The reason is the prompt you give, the how you would leverage AI. You need to have good understanding of the domain and put it in good is simple English. So understanding the domain would be one. With regards to core technologies, I would, as a quality engineer, I would not really worry too much about getting into the details. That's a machine learning engineer, machine learning, architect or a design specialist role, right? That because the reason I'm saying is it's good to know the unless you are, say, for example, a quality engineer for who is expected to test and validate the model at Amazon or Meta or a Google, right? In that case, you need to understand the basics and the fundamentals of it, right from mathematics and statistics and linear algebra all the way to the latest models on the new SEAL model which I mentioned from uh, MIT earlier this week, or GPTs and the transformer models and all this. That's for this particular question. You don't really need to know every single model because things are evolving. What's valid, say 2 years back, will no longer be valid in 2 years down the line. So you always be on a constant catch-up game. So it is better to understand basic fundamentals and but more domain. If want to be a good skilled engineer, you need to know, you need to be agile in adopting the tools, frameworks, and apply them with your domain knowledge and continuous learning ability. So that would be my suggestion. Curiosity, lifelong learning curiosity will be key.
Thank you, sir. Next question. This also you've answered in your PPT. What are some best practices for integrating AI-driven testing into existing CI/CD pipelines? How can organizations measure the ROI of AI-powered quality engineering initiatives?
Yeah, I covered both in the slides. Actually,
Right.
I added
Yes.
those slides basically for that. Yes.
Yes, sir. So thank you. And next question. This again you have just answered, but again, what challenges are currently faced in this field, that is in the quality engineering, AI in quality engineering, and how can they be addressed?
Yeah, I covered that in one of the earlier slides as well. Yeah, and I showed the chasm, bridge, and other things. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So most of the questions you have covered, all the questions you have covered during your presentation itself. Any other questions from the participants now? Okay, sir. One question from my side. For a researcher, so you just told us as a student perspective. You just told, as a researcher perspective, what can be taken in this particular thing for a researcher in AI field?
Yeah, see, if you were to take the quality engineering aspect, right? See, now a lot of models are coming, a lot of things. One key aspect would be when it comes to AI ethics and explainability and hallucination. How before a model gets launched or a new product gets launched, how can you validate how good are they and what are the blind spots, right? How can you address the hallucination? How can you address the bias aspect? How can you address the explainability aspect? And how can you make this tool more universal and accessible? Right now, there are certain challenges in how the tools are being leveraged and used. All the models and tools are not 100% usable and applicable or across all geographies, across all spectrum. But people are using it generally because it delivers the general purpose. But there are a lot of blind spots there. So that's one area where researchers can look at and build a lot of research output and make these products better.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that wonderful question and answer session, sir. So now I would like to propose the formal vote of thanks. So we had the session on pragmatic AI for quality engineering from strategy to scale by Mr. Kalilur Rahman, AI consultant and advisor, former director, data and digital and AI at Novartis. So we were great honored to have him in this particular session. So he started with the evolution of from lesson to from the automobile. So he just spoke about the horse carriage era, automobile disruption, and he just told that how new job creation is happening, and he just told that the disruption technology destroys old jobs but creates entirely new sector and roles. So, and throughout his presentation, he just told how the new opportunities are there evolved, and he just covered about. He also specified about 70% of the manual labor reduced to just 10% today. That he just specified, and he also specified in his presentation that using AI, like 1.2 billion lines of code is generated, and he also spoke in his presentation about vibe coding. He just uh, touched upon some of the things like BCG, Gen AI state of progress, and about the programmers future Microsoft research, those things. And he explained that the next development phases will be like from vibe coding to context generation engineering, then vibe engineering, and also about the autonomous quality engineering. And he specified that to be a good developer, you need not have the basic things, and you just have to be have a strong fundamental strategic fundamentals. That is what he just mentioned in his particular presentation. He also touched upon the real world case studies by industries and also the future of AI in quality engineering. So, and he just ended with telling that time is now moving from vibe to value. So thank you for your wonderful presentation, sir. And also thank you for the wonderful Q&A session. So I take this opportunity to thank all the organizing units, IEEE CS, ACM Chennai, IEEE LMAG, and HCC Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. A special thanks to Ramesh, Mr. Ramesh Dugar, sir, President, Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. And we also like to especially mention our mentor, who's the backbone for arranging all these such webinars, Mr. H.R. Mohan, sir, Chair Events, IEEE CS Madras, and Chair IEEE LMAG Madras. And I thank all the participants for staying connected, who is watching in live YouTube live streaming also. Thank you so much for joining this. And before ending, I would just like to tell there is one webinar on Jan 5th, 2026 on book launch presentation on being ordinary and doing extraordinary things. So you just in the credential mail what you receive, in that itself you'll be having, or you can visit our website and you can just get the details and get registered and get benefited. Thank you all. Have a nice day. Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.
Ma, have you stopped streaming, ma?
I do, yes, ma'am.
Ah. Thank you, Vishwa.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Akila ma'am. Ma'am போயிட்டாங்க போல இருக்கு. Thank you, PVS sir.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you. Akila ma'am,
Sir,
சரி இது தனியாக நம்ம பேசலாம் 2 minutes சரியா?
சரி.
இது ரெக்கார்டிங் ஸ்டாப் பண்ணிட்டீங்களா?
Yes, sir.